Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. This will be one of the fun segments because we're getting into the point of the pandemic now where, I haven't left the house, I've got my mask on and all that, and I start to go back in my calendar and think, oh my God, it's been 60 days since I sat with this guy and we were planning an incredible mayoral debate amongst all the mayor candidates. All the mayor candidates are coming on with Don Moeller and I at Baltimore Positive a little later on this week, and you can find all that out at WNST.net as well as at the Baltimore Positive mothership. This guy and I, my God, we've known each other most of the century. I got to know him when many of you started having your WNST morning newspaper shipped. I guess it was about 2006, 7, 8, somewhere in there, that Greg Cangialosi was running a company called Blue Sky Factory. It was right down next to a great cheeseburger place off of Cross Street and some good oysters and whatnot. And we would get together usually over breakfast and talk about Gary Vaynerchuk and fixing the world. He has since moved on to do all sorts of things with the Baltimore Angels and with Betamore. And his wife has an awesome place right around the corner from where his place used to be called So Botanical, where I get some soaps and stuff that make me clean and smell nice. Greg Cangialosi is also a veteran on my yoga mat. Greg, you'll be very, very appreciative to know that this sacred space known as the WNST studio with my Sporticulture magma lamps is also my yoga studio now that we've been shut down at YogaWorks. How are you, brother? You still on the mat? You staying in shape? You feeling good, huh?
My man, it's great to hear your voice. Wow, a lot of memories there. I'm doing great, man. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on. Unfortunately, the answer to that question is not as much time on the mat as you and I used to do, which is, sometimes we'd see each other, 2 times a week?
Dude, it's weird. My wife is on the mat 7 days a week now.
Amazing.
And I'm the fat ass. I'm the guy that's eating Tarka ice cream on the set and having a good time,
Well, I'm the idiot who's paying $130 for a YogaWorks membership, and apparently now you can take a class every 10 minutes because they opened up the whole studio from all across all the countries. All the studios across the country to, online to access. So I was talking to my friend Glenn last night. He was like, I missed my 6:45. I'm just going to go to by 7 o'clock.
One of the reasons, and I know you can't see, but you'll see on the video, that this window here is the west wall. So Camden Yards is right behind the Sporticulture Flower and the football stadium. So the west wall, when it's a 94-degree day, it's 115 in here, right? So
you got your hot yoga.
I have my space heater over here. I said to Jen, we'll open the windows around 3:30 every day. By 5:30, believe me, we're going to have a hot studio in here. So you will start to see the ice cream and all the Rofo chicken and Western fries sort of melt off of me. Dude, I left you.
It's
you have
unreal.
you have such a beautiful space where you are, right? And we've had the Weller folks on and, the Under Armour folks and everything that's going on in Port Covington. Your background is wild, dude. You were like a music promoter and doing shows and mission ticks and all this stuff. And now you have this literally, and I'll use the word incubator, and I'll let you describe what that really is, but you incubate businesses in Baltimore, and I saw it with my own eyes, and we were going to do a mayoral debate down at your place, and you're right by Nick's Seafood, right in the south end, right where the bridge is, a beautiful waterfront space where the Ravens had their event last year, and Coach Billick and Ray Lewis and all that stuff were down there last year. But for you, in your space, everything you've tried to put together is to bring people together, like everybody else, right? And now we're all on Zoom. What the hell, man?
It's crazy, It's as anti-human as we get. We're social creatures, and we convene, and there's something real to community. Obviously, it's still being carried on, nonetheless, in the digital realm. But yeah, you hit the nail around the head. I wouldn't say we incubate companies. What Betamore is a 501c3 nonprofit that's based in City Garage, and we have almost 14,000 square feet that is designed to support entrepreneurs of all sizes from all industries in a flexible work environment. We have a lot of workforce and development training programs. We support community meetups. But basically, to your point, everything we do it involves people getting together either to work, co-work, come to the office, do an event, host an event. We're pretty much doing something there. We're doing something there every single night. It's so counter. And of course, as you can imagine, It's empty right now, except for one guy who's in charge of making this thing called the Maryland mask, which is a really cool copper weave mask. And that's really cool. It's just a safer, I think it is. It certainly seems like,
Dude, I need a good-looking mask. I mean, I keep ripping the damn thing. Oh, I have all surgical. Like, it's all my wife's leftover stuff from when she had cancer, right? So, we've had this stuff in a bag for years.
Stuff for a while, right?
Yeah, and I've lost 3 of them this week, just literally ripping off my ear. And I'm like, I got to call Chris Schaefer, one of my buddies somewhere, and make me something that says something funny on it.
You should wear the Maryland mask. I'll get you one, and then. And so that's basically ground zero is Betamore for that operation. They're being made all over the city and the region. But yeah, it's just awfully weird to go in there and not see the thriving people, or those types of spaces ebb and flow anyway. They go up and down in energy, they go up and down in people. But it's been dark for a while due to obviously safety and people not coming in, and so we've got a pretty strict protocol over there. You can't go in there without a mask anymore. It's kind of go in, get your stuff, and leave. Convening. So just like everything else, we've had to adapt there.
How many people? Like the day I was in there, it looked to me like 20 or 30 different operations that I physically saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw Brian Snyder from Betamore rent. I mean, I just saw people that I know. I mean, it's a mile from where I live, but you have to drive to get there, sort of, kind of. I mean, you can walk and I can walk, but if you're coming from the area, it's easy to find, it's easy to park.
Oh my God, we got so much parking.
Well, I want to give a plug here to my dear friends at Harbor Q too, because the day that I was there, they were up with the truck. Kelly and the group was right up in front selling. I took my wife home barbecue the day I visited you, and it had vibe, it had mojo, and more than that, I don't know how many. We're talking hundreds of people who subscribe or belong to what you're doing down there at City Garage.
So we have a bunch of different memberships at Betamore. We have a community membership where you can just be a member of Betamore and get access to some of our programming at a discount. Obviously, support the cause. But don't have to come in and work, but be a part of our community. We have the co-working membership where people can just come, work whenever they want, access our, conference rooms, printer and Wi-Fi, et cetera, and then take their stuff with them when they leave. And then we have a dedicated desk membership. So it's all the way down to dedicated office. So it's a little, it's something to fit everybody. And
was this your vision, by the way, or did you see this somewhere else? Was this being done in Denver or something?
Well, so after Blue Sky Factory was acquired in 2011, you just have one of these kind of strange things where there was already a platform company, as they call it, in private equity already in place with the management team. So when they wanted to add on Blue Sky Factory to the mix there, they didn't need another CEO. So, but unbeknownst to me, they asked me to stage right, exit stage left.
Good album, by the way. That's going to be next week on the album challenge. But go ahead.
So I mean, once I found myself kind of quickly with nothing to do, I'm an entrepreneur. I twiddle my thumbs pretty quickly. So the first, I kind of, it took a couple weeks off, took a break. Hung out with my family for a little bit, but I'm a twitchy person. I like to build things and do things. So I quickly asked myself, if I was going to do this all over again, meaning start a company like Blue Sky or any company, what do I wish was in Baltimore when I first started it in 2001? And when I looked around in 2011, sure, we had come a long way in terms of an ecosystem. The ETC was still thriving and still is today. But there wasn't a lot of community hubs. And so the idea behind this with thinking through is a place where you can have flexible workspace, a new community hub, all the things that come with that stuff, but also kind of differentiate ourselves with some unique programming by bringing in industry experts who are in industry doing workforce and professional skill development to kind of fill in that gap between where higher ed leads off and what the current kind of quote unquote tech stacks that are happening today are being deployed and being utilized. And so there's a little bit, there's a delta there, typically from higher ed to what's happening right now. So teaching the fundamentals all the way up to starting with tech, but we do tech, full stack web development, data science, digital marketing, analytics, et cetera. And so we're starting to break modules down. Now, obviously, we're doing what everyone else is, has to do. We're being forced to move over to our LMS, our learning management system, and start to get this content online so people can still have access to it, and we can still be able to reach our community and provide value. Today, later today, we're going to do our first. This is not Betamore, another organization that I've been running for 11 years. It's the Baltimore Angels, which has been a staple in the Baltimore community from the early stage financing perspective. I think probably I'm just going to guess. I've probably known it over a decade. We've done like somewhere between 35 and 40 deals. We have a big portfolio. These are all angel investors,
and all local, right?
Not all local, but primarily local.
But primary, it's a Baltimore group, Baltimore Angels.
Yeah. So
right?
today, for example, so now we're looking at. So here's how we're trying to adjust there. We had to take March and April off. We usually do a pitch meeting every month. We have a full-time employee. We had to kind of recalibrate like everybody else. And so tonight is our first Baltimore Angels virtual pitch meeting on Zoom, and the new format is we're going to do meetings twice a month now, and we're going to focus on two companies. One, a portfolio company. So today is going to be James Fennell from Zesty. They're a portfolio company. We're going to have an update. He's also raising a round. They're doing very well. As you probably know, the food and beverage industries are in some cases being very positively impacted by the COVID situation. And then our other primary pitch that has never raised a dollar before is an amazing company, Baltimore-based company, Bolo City.
Wow, okay.
I know you know those guys.
I do.
So Giovanni's, it's just a great story. I mean, actually, Betamore company too. So tying it all together. So they started it in Betamore at our old space over in Light Street. Pre-COVID, they were set up to have the biggest year of their history, and their whole business is just like Betamore, organizing people in adult social leagues to go out and do something after work, like bocce or kickball or softball, etc. And he's got 250,000 essentially millennials across 7 markets in the United States. And now, as you can imagine, so that makes him the big player across the country. And they're sitting in McHenry Row, and they got people all over the country. And it's like Bolo City is an amazing company. Before COVID, they were 80 strong people, right? And they're servicing 250,000, millennials, and they're pivoting, and they're moving to a technology company to keep them all connected. So they pivoted to e-games, if you can believe it, and they're doing great. And
I don't get that, by the way. I'm just I can't do the e-game thing. If I was ever going to discover that, this would be the time, right? Like
exactly. I just know I'm not a gamer, so it's really easy for me. But
I played Donkey Kong and Burger Time when I was a kid, Miss Pac-Man, and I'm reliving all of my childhood albums right now this month of May out at WNST.net. But I'm not going to relive like favorite video games. I'm not going to bring up Galaga or anything like that.
Hey, speaking of that, you want just a quick little insight into some cultural history. I got some albums in my truck right here that I'm calling you from that my mom gave me last time I went up to New Jersey to pick up my dog.
Legitimate.
Albums.
Okay.
Legitimate.
Now, you grew up in Jersey. And are you my age? I'm 50. I'll be 52 this year. I don't know how old you are. I have no idea.
I'm 46.
You're young. You're a lot younger than me. Like in album years, it's like when AC/DC Back in Black came out, you were like 6. So it's different.
So here's it'll be real brief because we love music and I know.
But yours is going to be much more college radio, much more REM-y kind of era than like Neil Diamond of my era.
So first of all, I've got Metallica's Whiplash.
Okay.
Like a little studio side and live side. We got Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, Seek and Destroy, and Phantom Lord on one album. Second album, Black Flag 4, Loose Nut. Third album, Sugar Hill Gang. Oh yeah, Rapper's Delight.
Oh whoa! If you want to get into a rapathon, now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. My crew, and my friends are gonna.
Corrosion of Conformity.
Sorry.
Black Flag. Keep It in the Family, The Blasting Concept, which is a good, and Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. I got Madonna Like a Virgin in the wrapper, Never Been Opened.
Dude, that is a wide swath of. You're with Bauhaus next. What else you got in there? Keep going.
Suicidal Tendencies. And that's it. I was a punk. I was a skater. So that's where all the punk came.
You were a skater. I did not know that about you.
Total skater. Yeah, I spent a lot of times on the.
So was that like Chili Peppers then? Like what was that?
Yeah, I kind of veered off before we got there, and started going more towards like the Metallica stuff, and then eventually ended up being the Deadhead. Go figure, right? It's like. Yeah,
I think of you as a Deadhead. Like, that's really weird. What do you think of me with music? Like when you think of what would you call me?
I think Nestor rock and freaking roll. Aparicio.
Okay, rock and roll. But what would that mean? What would rock and roll mean to you?
AC/DC, Stones.
Classic
You
rock,
like?
then. Okay.
Yeah, you're like more classic rock. But
Well, I was challenged to do 10 albums, right? And I was challenged for 3 months. People have been challenging me. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm
you're
very
like
into the
Pink
mayor's
Floyd,
race.
maybe.
What's that?
Pink Floyd,
Pink
Led
Floyd, yeah, The Wall,
Zeppelin.
sure, okay. Zeppelin for sure.
All that stuff's amazing. By
Well,
the way, I love it all.
so I had 10 albums, and 10 came to me right away. And Dave, do you know Dave Geller, right?
Of course.
Okay, so Geller was the one that pushed me off the plank last. He pissed me off. So last weekend, he came after me on Facebook like,
boy.
I want you to do it. And I'm like, dude, why me?
You know.
Like what about my musical taste are you interested in? Why would you care? And he's like, dude, you were the music critic for all these years. You have all these people, all these sports people. You have black people, white people, old people, young people, males, females, all over the world that follow what you do and say, and you've seen all these bands and people. So people would be very interested in why you're into Springsteen or U2 at this point in your life. What makes you tick musically? And I'm like, well, it's really nice of you to sort of put it that way. I'll do it. And I said, but I will only do it if I can use words, because I'm not just going to put up an album, put up the cover of Life's Rich pageant and let you guess as to why I like it, Like I'm a writer, So I started with 10 last week. This started like last Thursday night, and by Friday afternoon, I had like 14. And I'm like, I'm going to do it up to Preakness Day, and my wife wanted in on it. My wife's like, you and I should go in and do a segment. I'll sit in the studio, and you can show me your backstage passes and tell the stories and all that. And I'm like, all right, we'll do that on Preakness Day in lieu of the Preakness, right? And then I just said, you know what? I'm going to do 31 albums, and I'm going to do one a day. My wife's birthday is the 31st. And so I'm going to do 31. Today is day 5 in the myriad, and today I am releasing. Hold on, I want to get this right. My first. Did you see the first 4, or did you not?
I did not. No.
Okay, so let's go through the first 4, and because I respect your musical. Give everybody your musical background, because you went into like concerts. Give that part.
Yeah, so I came here originally, meaning Baltimore, to go to UMBC as a college student.
Wow.
And I transferred
Freeman Rabowski, our guest this week, will be very happy to hear that.
Absolutely. And Freeman, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was either the first year he was president is when I was a freshman. I mean, we essentially, started at UMBC around the same time. So, out-of-state student came in, knew nobody. So... got a job on campus, rushed to fraternity, Lambda Chi Alpha, just didn't know anybody in Baltimore. And so over the course of my time at UMBC, I was always on the student events board, and I was always the tech crew manager for the university center. So that meant that anytime there was an event in the ballroom or any kind of area in town, not necessarily the field house, but there I would program the AV. So
hold on, did you do the live concert in the cafeteria there that day? Because I was at that concert.
So yeah, we didn't do it, but I brought in the
dude. I have my ticket stub. I swear to God, I have it. It was on my wall here for years.
I forget which fraternity did it, but I was in the room for that, and that was the room that I always programmed. So it was AV. So every time Freeman got up there, this was a great thing. I spent so much time, getting my dose of Freeman, because anytime he spoke, he requested that a tech was in the booth in case his mic ever fed back or anything like that. So it didn't matter what the event was. If Freeman got up, he wanted someone there. So as the manager, college students, it always fell on me to make sure it was happening. So I actually sat there and listened to, over the course of my time at UMBC, probably 20 or 30 Freeman events and speeches. And, I don't have to tell you how motivational. And
look how good you turned out. All right, so
I will tell you this, and Freeman will love to hear this, and Greg Simmons and the whole crew over there is that, the greatest educational experience of my life was UMBC, and I'm happy and proud to say that. And it was an awesome experience, and I continue to support the school today. We just did the Cangialosi Business Innovation Competition last week on Zoom. Usually it's an event where it's an event, a program I endowed after I sold the company, and it's gone on. I think it's like 6 years or 7 years. Like it's just flying by. It's certainly over the first 5. It's actually 7 actually. And so that's to support the students who are actually entrepreneurs who are going to start businesses, who in some cases have already started businesses, whether they're in school, grad students, or alumni. And the school does a great job. Vivian Armour from the Alex Brown Center marries them up with the industry mentors and industry experts to help them and other investors to kind of craft their pitch. I sit back and ask a couple people to judge it, and I'm happy to announce them. And so look, we're doing it. But UMBC, I think it was the first year of the Alex Brown Entrepreneurship Center as well. So it's wild.
Well, this is the first time on the. This is the first time we had him last week. We had all the university presidents. I mean, so impressive. I mean, Dr. Wilson over at Morgan State was with us. Yeah. Dr. Curtinitis from CCBC was with us. Jay Perman joined us last week as well. And we're hoping to have the new president from Coppin State coming on in a couple weeks. Greg Cangialosi is my guest. I used to say Blue Sky Factory. He was my partner in crime many, many years ago. Now doing Betamore and Baltimore Angels and So Botanical and all that good stuff down at the City Garage. And rock and roller. So this is the first time I've mentioned the albums on the air where I'm literally going to go through my top 5. They're not top 5. They're first 5. I'm doing them chronological.
Yeah, you don't have to rank them in order of your favorite.
No, this is beginning to end. This is a travelogue. This is a 31-day, lifetime, 52 years of Nestor, but really only 30-some years because I haven't selected anything. There's only 2 albums from this century in it, okay? So I won't get to this century until my wife's birthday, okay? So everything here is, well, Geller said these were the foundational the albums that moved you toward music, a life in music. So, first album, you ready?
Yep.
And you talk about entrepreneurs. These are the greatest entrepreneurs. Well, the Stones are probably the greatest entrepreneurs. These would be number 2. Kiss Alive 1 was the first album I got in 1975. My cousin, who now lives in Venezuela, Nelson, gave me the album over in Tyndale Road over in East Baltimore. So, Kiss Alive 1 was my first album. Boston is the second album I picked because that album is sort of like, every song, every tune. Absolutely. Engelbert Humperdinck, his greatest hits. This was my mom's favorite album, and it made me sort of go along that line of Manilow, Diamond, crooner, probably the reason I like the Rembrandts and the Bodines and different music of that kind. So Engelbert Humperdinck, please release me. So, Eagles, Hotel California on a dark desert highway. So I went number 4 with that one, and I thought that was kind of good. And today's entry for you, for Peter DeLutis' birthday, for my dear friend, lifer friend Kevin Eck's birthday, today, Saturday Night Fever, the soundtrack.
Oh, man. Boom.
Drop the mic.
Getting it rocking.
Yeah, so awesome. And down the line, I mean, I don't need to tell you that Zeppelin's in here, AC/DC's in here, Rush is in here, Journey's in here, Van Halen's in here, Bon Jovi's in here, believe it or not. So there's a lot of bands and a lot of albums, but at least to start with, I have probably broken the mold of what Cangialosi thought of me 5 minutes ago, right?
A little bit. I'll tell you, I'll break the mold a little bit. So my parents bought me, I forget what age I was, but it was the year Michael Jackson's Thriller came out. They bought me a boombox, and they gave me that cassette. And that was like, boom.
That would have been like 82, 83, off the wall, right about there? Okay.
Yeah, I was...
Did you crank up Beat It while you were like blading or whatever you were doing?
Totally. And then one day after school, my friend came over, and he had... my friend told me to come over, and he had Led Zeppelin 4 and Pink Floyd The Wall, and we played it on vinyl, and I was like, oh my God!
That was the end of Black Flag for you, right?
I was done. Yeah, I was done. I mean, well, no, that was my teen years, but I mean, I just basically music has just been saturated in my life, and I'm definitely not. I definitely leaned more towards being more of a deadhead over time, but like.
But once you heard Bonham beaten down when the levee breaks, you know what I mean? Like,
unbelievable,
changes everything, right?
I mean, How the West was one that just.
It's like the first time I heard Presence at a party on Towson State campus, and I felt the speaker start to shake a little bit.
Right.
Bam, bam, bam. And I was like, ooh, so I can die easy.
That opening roll to rock and roll.
Yeah, well, custard pie changed my life as well. So, look, In Through the Outdoor, I will leak that out to you that is one of my selections. It's not everybody's Zeppelin album, but it was mine, Summer 79. So, changed my life. Greg, tell everybody how they can get involved with you, with your wife, and what she does. Beautiful work there with incredible soaps and smells and clean stuff, especially in a world where we have to be uber clean down at So Botanical. And everything you're doing at Betamore, because we all are trying to bring people together, and I think that's been the hardest part of this 60 days here, and Lord knows how far this is going to go. It's keeping people like you and me off a yoga mat where we used to get together and like kibitz a little bit, right?
You know? I know. I'm definitely trying to battle the waistline, right? Like keep active. So Nestor, thank you. You can, if you're interested in learning more about Betamore, it's betamore.com. BaltimoreAngels.com. We have, forums on all those pages. You can get in touch with us. And then I appreciate you bringing up my wife Teresa's business. She's been she's an aromatherapist, a master aromatherapist. And
I can smell it from here.
Yeah, So Botanical, SOBOTANICAL.com. We've just opened a new maker space in Woodbury next to Biroteca Restaurant. We have a 3,000 square foot. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot right now.
Wow! And pizza in the parking lot, too. Wow, good.
And again, the idea here is not only to obviously get better manufacturing cogs, but, we've got this great space that, again, is going to be an event space that nobody can come to. So we just have to ride it out, and we will. But in the meantime, we're cranking out. Her and her team are cranking out, soaps, oils, hand sanitizer, essential oil synergies for diffusers, so you can change your environment, make it calm, make it uplifting.
One thing we've done this is going to sound crazy, but my wife got this diffuser thing for our cat, and I don't know what the name of the stuff is, Jackson Galaxy. Everybody, if you mention it to a veterinarian, whatever it is, we plugged it into the wall, and we've always, our cat's beautiful, she's awesome. There's been something about that thing that has made her even more cool than she already was,
I've heard that more. You wouldn't believe it. A dog that's restless gets up and sleeps in the bedroom, doesn't chill out. They throw lavender in the diffuser at night. Boom, the dog chills out now. There's just so many little things. But, we're psyched to have this place open. Right now we're doing curbside pickup, so you can order and come by and pick up the products, or we're shipping all over the place, all online at SoBotanical.com. And so look out, because we're going to be doing some really, I'm going to give you a preview of one thing that you're going to love.
Go ahead.
One of my friends has one of the largest collections of psychedelic art posters from the 60s and other generational music. And we're going to do this, we're going to start doing the show called Potions and Prints, right? And we're going to do it out of the space. We're going to hang the posters on the wall. They're all going to be themed around specific artist or a tour or whatever. And we're going to talk about them because, as you know, there's so much subtext and so much narrative and storytelling behind live shows. And so I wanted to wait for us to open and do this, but we can just do this digitally and so start preceding the idea of this space and I want to make it brand activations for everybody and a collab. So we promote him, we promote my wife's business, we promote, we're working with Starbright Farms in the county, we're working with a whole bunch of people. We want to make just like Betamore is for entrepreneurs, So Botanical Studios is what we're calling it, a hub for other artists, creators, the music industry, and of course, all the makers in town that are focused on natural body products and other complementary things. So,
well, I'm out on So Botanical right now, and I love how that you've used the artwork from the Rush Test for Echo album right out on the front. I love the rocks; it's nice. Yeah. The balance, I like it. Hey, man, I love you, appreciate you. One day we'll get together on a yoga mat again and sweat it out and listen to some Led Zeppelin or some Tom Petty or something that I like too. 31 albums, they're coming your way, and you'll be shocked, Greg.
Hopefully Geller approves, man.
Once I start dropping those K-Tel albums, he's going to defecate himself. See you later, Greg.
Thanks, Nestor. Have a good one, buddy.
You got it. Greg Cangialosi joining us here, my pal from all things Betamore, Baltimore Angels, and Old Blue Sky Factory and friends. We got friends everywhere, man. I got my Sporticulture hat on the set, the Magma lamp from the Ravens, as well as my Terps lamp back here, which Greg approves of. And this flower, my wife has made this thing live for 2 weeks now. She keeps watering it and putting sunlight. It's amazing how long you can keep a flower alive, Court. if you work hard at it. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. Albums every day this month. Mayoral candidates, university presidents, business leaders, CEOs, and friends of mine. We are WNST.net. We used to do Baltimore sports. We still do when there's sports. But in the meantime, like the dude, we're abiding. Staying calm, keeping local, and staying Baltimore positive.